settle down and take our seats. Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I am Chino Tobias, and I'd like to welcome you to today's exclusive premium huddle entitled Outplay the Market. Again, we'd like to appreciate everyone for your presence here today. We're glad that you were all able to take the time out to join us for another insightful discussion with our experts. As we have mentioned before during our first premium huddle, we are committed to giving you access, direct and regular access to these experts through these events that we have. So please take advantage of their presence here today. Make sure to ask them all your questions. Ask them their stock picks, market updates, strategies, and recommendations. We can do that by using the Slido, slido.com. We also have a mic in the middle of the room. Please come up. Or you can simply write your questions down and hand them to any of the CEMs available walking around. To start our program, I would like to call on our President and CEO, Mr. Dino Bate, for the opening remarks.
Okay, hi. Good morning. I'll stand here on the stage because, for the people behind. But anyway, I'd like to welcome all of you today to this premium huddle. It's an expert huddle that is really designed for the active trader or investor that are here present today. So you will hear the views of our expert, which is from April and Juanis, and this will be, of course, moderated by our seasoned fund manager, Marvin Fausto. I just want to let you know also that I'm glad to see that there are a lot of new faces today. I don't know what that means, whether it's the hard work that Joyce has put together, but I'm glad to see that there are more people now who are more engaged in the market and trying to understand how they should really navigate this. And this is the session that I think is best suited for you. Although last year was a bit of a surprise for most of us, I guess there were a lot of things that happened that, the market was, a lot of people made predictions at the beginning of the year where we saw a lot of optimism with China about to open, with, interest rates seen to have, they were saying it's not going to go up much higher. But all this was not what has happened, and that caused the market to really go through a very volatile period. Now, we're starting 2024 with a similar scenario where there's a bit of optimism again, because we see markets are, have moved up more than 8% from the low that we saw in October, right? And now we're beginning to see a little bit more of traction in the market, and that's why we have our experts to help you, guide you through this market condition. But anyway, also before we kick off this event, I'd just like to take time to introduce somebody that's going to make sure that this group is taken care of and will have what we call an exceptional investing experience. And this person is Joyce Chan. Joyce Chan is now our new head of the premium group. For those of you who've met her this morning, I've seen, she was here here in the early part of the day that greeting everybody. But just to give you a bit of background, Joyce has been with the family, or what we call the COL family, for the past 10 years. And she's not only heading our premium group, but she's also in charge of our customer support team. I think what she brings to the table is a wealth of experience in the market and also knowledge about the industry. And I think she would really be great value to this group of premium customers. And you can see that she really took time to understand and try to understand what you guys are looking for. And she was very much involved in the preparation for today's event. So I hope, let's give her a warm welcome. And Joyce is over here. So if you have not met her, she's, just around, and you can just talk to her. But anyway, I'd like to thank everybody today, and I hope we'll use this time to ask your questions and ask our experts about how they see the market in the short term or in the medium term, and let's use this as a period to learning and sharing and personal development. Thank you again, and have a good day.
Okay, thank you, Dino. And again, yes, Joyce She'd like to welcome all of you. She'll be around, so please feel free to get to know her a little bit more throughout this morning. Okay, so let's get things on the road. To start off, I'd like to invite the moderator for today's panel discussion. He is a veteran fund manager and the president of COL's mutual fund arm, COL Investment Management. Let's all please give a round of applause to Mr. Marvin Fausto.
Hi. Hello. Hi, good morning. Morning.
All right. Okay, joining Marvin are two of our experts. First, we have COL's first Vice President of Sales and Customer Support. Let's all please welcome everyone you know, our Chief Technical Analyst, Mr. Juanis Barredo.
Hello.
And of course, we have next COL's first Vice President for Corporate Strategy and Investor Relations. Let us all welcome COL's Chief Equity Strategist, Ms. April Lynn Tan. All right, I'll turn it over to the three of you.
Thank you, Chino. Good morning, everyone. Glad to see you all here on a Saturday morning. And as Dino mentioned, no, the market is really, the consensus is that looks like this year, 2024, is going to be better. Last year, we saw January also very strong, like now. Kaya lang last year, parang
Like
something happened and then market went down, -2 after an 8% growth in January. Now, from the bottoms, another 8%. And ano ba mangyayari? What are the things that we're facing, at least for the next 3 to 6 months? What we want to do kasi is have this huddle more regularly para we can guide you better. And since it's very hard to predict the whole year, what we want to do is just talk about first the next 3 to 6 months, di ba? Kasi a lot of things can happen the next 3 to 6 months. So maybe let's talk first 3 to 6 months and then follow April in her monthly calling the shots and Juanis daily reports on our website so that you can be advised on what to do better. But first, before we proceed, I would like to do a survey. I'd like to stand there. I'd like to do a survey of this group, no? In the Slido that you have here, you can just scan it in your phones. And let's do a bit of a survey to understand what you guys believe for at least for the next 3 to 6 months where the market will go. I'm going to ask there's about 3 questions there. You just choose which one. Where do you think the market will go? Are you bullish, like about 7,100 to about 7,400? Are you more or less neutral, where you think market will go maybe 6,300 to about, neutral to 6,600? Now bearish, about low 6,000, or even break the 6,000 to about 5,800. The reason why I'm asking you this, we want to understand what this crowd feels like. Because this is an exclusive, as you know, this is an exclusive event. Yesterday, we already had a market outlook, but that's for everybody, for all our clients. Ito, medyo exclusive to. These are your active traders, your active investors. We want to understand, so we can guide you better, diba? So we can understand where you feel right now, and we can guide you better. Okay. Yan. Give you a few minutes to answer that. Mukhang nagiging bullish, Oops. Sige. Please answer. You are registered. Your phones are registered. We'd like you to, all of you answer, please. All of you answer. Kasi sinabi namin sa waiter or doon sa technician, pagka hindi sumagot, hindi bibigyan ng pagkain So, but you can have water. Sige. O yan, dumadami na. We have about, how many people do we have here? Like about maybe 100, no? 100? More or less? Sige. Sige. Where do you believe the market will go in the next 3 to 6 months? Bullish. Mga nagiging bullish, ano? About 28. So sige, let's give it about 45 or 30 seconds more. 30 seconds more. We have a trend now. We have a trend. Well, it looks like we're having a trend, no? It's more bullish, then next neutral, then bearish.
You shouldn't show the data first.
Because
People will tend to jump with the winner.
may bias, may crowd, momentum.
Yeah. Okay, okay. Ayan, it's just what. Yan, thank you very much. It looks like this room is a bit more bullish. Next, about 39 of you is about bullish. And then neutral is about 24, like, and then bearish. Walang masyadong bearish. May mga 4 na bearish dito. So, sige, thank you very much. So, the way we'd like to proceed now is that, so this growth April is a bit bullish, Juanis. And let's see how, what could derail this? No, I'll start with April. As you know, April will handle the fundamentals, and then Juanis will handle the technicals. We'll start with April. April has been covering the market on the fundamental basis, and we want to see now, for the next 3 to 6 months, April, I don't think just the crowd here is bullish. I think it's a consensus already, diba? That's why I think the market is very strong. But what could derail this, and what are the risks that this market is facing, April?
Yeah, okay. So I'll do a summary lang of why I guess everybody's bullish. Not only in the Philippines, but around the world. Kasi nga, diba, the Fed looks like it's going to pivot. And I think the headache we had last year, in the past 2 years, is high inflation, high interest rates. And looks like tapos na yun, diba? I mean, the same goes in the Philippines. Inflation has peaked. And the BSP is expected to, cut rates soon. But, may mga risk tayo. Hold on, let me just... Okay, it's there na. Okay, so first of all, syempre, yung inflation natin might not peak in the first half because of El Nino. Alam naman natin yon. And in the Philippines, food prices, rice prices matter a lot. Second, the government spending, which is supposed to increase by around mga 9% this year. We know naman, di ba, you read the papers, and si DOF Secretary Recto said no new taxes. Okay, so in other words, they're gonna expect revenues to increase 12% without new taxes, just better administration of existing collections. So, syempre, nakakatakot yan kasi pag yung deficit natin lumaki ng sobra, then foreign investors will not view it favorably. Okay, so that's not, but for me, the biggest risk, well, geopolitical, we don't know what will happen, but anyway, that's always a risk. The biggest risk that, for me, it's what you call the known unknown is, the potential of the US falling into a recession and the bear market. And unfortunately, even though it's not our fault, I don't think we're vulnerable to fall into a recession. We have always suffered from a contagion.
Yun ang problema na, contagion with the US. With the
Yes.
US. How has it been ba? In the past, how have we been, like, how is the US? How does it affect us? No?
I have a, I think, table there. But you want to know why, bakit ba? Kasi, okay, soft landing, hard landing. Why do I think there's a risk? Ayun, syempre, finorward na nila. Okay, so, of course, you want, the government and the Fed will want you to think that there is nothing wrong in the US, that they're successfully staging a soft landing. Because if I were the Fed, how can I keep on raising rates? and keeping it tight when I tell you, oh, there's something wrong. And of course, remember 2024 is an election year. So of course, the Biden administration will always tell you that, everything's great, so that you will vote for Biden, di ba? Because if you say there's a problem, you might not vote for Biden, you'll end up voting for Trump, which is, of course, they don't want to happen. But anyway, you look at the indicators. For example, the U.S. leading index, 10 economic indicators. The shaded part is the recessions. And you will notice every time the number goes below 0, soon enough, you'll have a recession. And if you look at where it is right now, it is deeply in the negative territory. Okay. And then another thing is money supply, which is the orange lines. Historically, and this is like a really long chart, I think it goes back to the 1960s, it has never become negative, but this time around it is negative. And if you remember your college economics, diba? They have this monetarist theory, etc. MV is equal to P times Q. So money supply times velocity of money is equal to the price paid or inflation times quantity of goods or the GDP. So, kung negative ang M mo, and I don't think the velocity of money is picking up. Because when you say velocity of money, it means are a lot of people borrowing money from the banks and a lot of people spending. Well, yeah, a lot of people are spending. But I don't think banks are gung-ho about lending money because remember last March we had SVB and the other banks going under. So they have that problem about capitalization. So I don't think they're lending a lot. So if you look at that and you believe in the monetary theory of money, that would imply a recession is coming sometime soon. So those are the big equations. But we can look at the other things, no? Because, okay, what do they talk about? They talk about the strong employment numbers. Okay. That's why sabi nila, no, soft landing because the economy is so strong, look at employment, it's okay. Well, if you look at the temporary hires, which is the one on the left, it's already turning. So yung mga temporary hires, they're already laying them off. And you look at that historically, once the temporary hires are being laid off, pretty soon you'll have a recession. The shaded part also is recession. And then a lot of businesses are already filing bankruptcies. So you can see the bankruptcy filings are, I don't know how many years, no? The red bars. Yeah. It's picking up already last year at the time when GDP growth was very strong. Diba? So, meron na talaga. Kasi, I mean, think about it in a low interest rate environment, if you're a zombie company, as they call it, and you can borrow money so cheap anyway, you don't really need to be very profitable because money is so cheap. Then you just sustain your operations. And you can easily pay off your interest expense. No, you just roll your debts. But the moment your interest expense goes up, and we're talking about Fed fund rate from 0.25 to 5+. So how many times increase yan, diba? That's a lot of increase. So of course, if you're a zombie company, then you can't do it anymore, diba? You can only do it for a little bit because you probably have some cash reserves. But once that runs out, then you're finished. So that explains why there's so many bankruptcies. Because before, diba, I don't need to be profitable as long as I have access to cash. Di tuloy lang ako, diba? And then, okay. And then other indicators that, I didn't have time to look for the charts. But anyway, the job numbers that they announce are always so positive. But in 2023, consistently every month, they do negative job revisions. So the data is always revised down. And then the Beige Book, which is what the Fed looks at, they survey 12, kasi diba different states yan, so they do a survey, they talk to them. So if you look at the latest Beige Books, you will see that more and more Fed, in the different states are saying, economic conditions are weakening. Okay, and then loan delinquencies are going up, credit card loans, consumer loans. And then the GDP is very strong, but GDI, okay, so GDI, just to explain, the difference kasi diba, GDP is spending, GDI is income, but GDP should be equal to GDI kasi it's a different way of measuring the economy lang. Diba yung isa yung true income earned, like they say, collection of rents, salaries, yun, yung isa, yung GDI yun. So if you look at GDI, it's weak and it's negative. GDP is positive. So sabi nila, parang may mali or GDP might be corrected in the future.
Overstated.
Yes, might be overstated. So those are the reasons why. Yeah, and yun, the Fed almost always over tightens. Kasi
bakit ganon? Bakit ganon? Di ba, Fed is like they're data dependent, di ba? They depend on past figures and then they react on the interest rates.
Because rising rates, diba, medyo gasgas, but it's true. Rising rates work with long and variable lags. Kasi it doesn't mean I raise rates. Tomorrow, your unemployment rate goes down. That's why you have to rely on leading economic indicators. So they are relying on coincidence indicators, which are your unemployment rate. Kapag tapos na, o tsaka ka magre-react. But anyway, if you look here, you will notice how as they raise rates, most of the time, you will end up with a recession. I mean, there are times when they don't. And the most famous time was in 1995 when Alan Greenspan raised rates. And then they did not suffer from a recession, which is why Alan Greenspan is called the maestro, because he successfully conducted a soft landing. But everybody else who raised rates, you will notice, led to a recession. So raise rates, and then okay, pause, and then maybe cut a little bit. The next thing you know, recession. So yan yung mananotice mo dito sa trend, no? So we're all celebrating because ay nako salamat pababa na yung rates or we're gonna pause. But it just is the cycle. That's just how it goes. After you raise rates, most of the time you will suffer from a recession. And then rates have to go down, and then yun na nga, the falling rates also work with long and variable lags. It doesn't mean if you cut rates
right away
recover. It will also take a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's yeah. And okay, for the next 6 months, because I guess the view is yeah, we could rally, and the long and variable lags, we could still have a year of strong performance in 24. I agree. My only concern is historically, if you measure the date of the yield curve inversion to the date of the start of the recession, the average is 18 months. But again, I mean, if you look at this chart, it could be 24 months, it could be 33 months. So, yun. And we saw the yield curve invert in July of 2022. So as of today, we're already in month 18, if you do the math. Which means a recession could be just around the corner. I mean, yun lang yung worry ko. Kasi, totoo naman pwede namang madelay siya. E di, syempre sayang. Why are we gonna keep money on the table, di ba?
Yeah, but April, we were looking at the US market. And then, I think it has reached an all-time high pa nga I mean, for the past few days, ang lakas ng US market. It seems that your call in recession is not kind of being understood by the market?
Yeah,
Paano ba yun?
Oo. That's the call right now is really very positive. The valuations are expensive. I mean, which is why, I mean, as a fundamentalist, I get worried. Kasi mahal yung stocks They're not cheap. So, kung magkatotoong magka-recession, there's room to go down, which is why I'm worried. It doesn't matter if it's cheap. Then maybe it won't go down or it will just go down a little bit. I mean, that's my worry. And yun na nga, you were asking a while ago, how has the Philippines performed? I mean, how I wish that I could say, oh, we just ignore it totally, but we don't. If you look at this chart, I mean, historically, every time the US fell, we also fell. Unfortunately, we're just a small, player, I guess, in the global market. And if the foreign funds sell, kasama tayo. Kasama tayo dyan. So yeah, I guess that's my worry.
medyo ano to si April medyo counterintuitive ba, so say you look like the market can really fall by this much, no? I mean, this is what history has told us, but can now be different? You think?
Can this time be different?
Yeah, can this time be different?
I wish. No, that of course that is my wish, no. But I don't know, 'di ba? Ayun, ito yung pinag-usapan natin. Okay. Because I remember you showing us a chart of how emerging markets performed after a pause.
Oh.
So, sige nga, tinignan ko nga. And it's true, markets could perform better. The past 7 times the Fed paused, 4 times the market rallied strongly up to 12 months after the pause. So you can see that it's in 89, 95, 2006, and December 2018. So yun na nga, parang masyadong OA pag sinabi mong bear market agad after the pause. Because you can see the gains are quite substantial. Okay. Pero may times din na hindi. So what would differentiate them? This time around, the pause happened in July 2023, and we have rallied 6.6% so far for 6 months. 6 months na since the pause. So really, if we're saying 12 months, you still have another 6 months to go, which is tama-tama for our briefing, di ba? Pwede pa, baka pwede pa. Okay. Okay, what are some observations? For the 6 out of the 7 past times, the US economy still suffered from a recession. Pero na-delay by more than 12 months. Yung 4 times na nag-rally siya. Okay.
12 months, medyo mahaba.
Oo. So, during the 4 times that the market rallied, a recession did not materialize in the next 12 months. So if you take a look at that, 89, the recession happened 17 months later. In 95, yun na nga, yung the Fed, when the Fed paused, si Alan Greenspan, there was no recession. Okay, in 06, it took 18 months. In December 2018, it took 14 months. Okay, so matagal pa yung recession, which is why the market was still able to rally. But this time around, pwede bang walang recession? Okay. If you look at the yield curve inversion, which has a 100% batting average, nag-invert yung yield curve. See, in 95, there was no recession, and the yield curve did not invert.
The yield curve meaning the short end of the US bond versus the long.
Yeah. So the inversion of the yield curve means that the 2-year bond is higher than the 10-year bond. Ibig sabihin, pag nag-place ka ng 2 years, mas malaki makukuha mo kaysa nag-place ka ng 10 years. In the 6 times that a recession happened, the yield curve inverted, meaning the 2 years became higher than the 10 years. In 95, when there was no recession, that did not happen. This time around, it happened in July 2022. And as I said earlier, it takes it takes 18 months on average. And we're in month 18, diba? So yun lang naman ang concern. But, that said, yeah, in the past, you still could rally and maybe, hopefully, we'll see that.
So at least April, we still have about a window. Mukhang may window pa, no? Di ba? I think this forum naman is talking about the next 3 to 6 months.
Possibilities.
And you're
I'm just
talking about
saying,
pwedeng mag-rally for the next 12 months. Can I cut you there? And I'd like to go to Juanis na right away. Kasi it appears that there may be a window still. No, it could happen. I mean, it can do the recession can happen. There's contagion in the market, and the U.S. can drop. But Juanis, can I jump already to Juanis? And because I wanted to understand it, kasi the technicals naman can give us a bit of a different picture or the same picture. The idea is listen to the fundamentals, make it your background, and see how you can navigate through it and looking at the charts. One is maybe you can give us an idea of the landscape, diba? Like what are you seeing at least for the next 3 to 6 months, diba? Para bang let's see if there's still an opportunity here kung meron pa.
Okay. Good afternoon first, everybody. I was reflecting on the heaviness of the conversation. In my point of view, I mean, is that threat real? Yes, it is. Is it happening right now? No, it's not. And if, like Marvin said, there could be a gap in between what could happen and what's happening today, we're in the camp of let's try to make what money we can right now, right? And try to see, we'll make an assessment as risk increases, or if it does increase to a point where it becomes unbearable, then we can always do something to be able to adjust our portfolios accordingly. In my perspective, you're looking at the current market condition. The graph you're seeing right now is the graph of our index. And since the lows that we saw late last year in October, our market has also gone quite up. Of course, not like a US, but we've managed to be able to recover. Unfortunately, we got stopped by resistance, which is closer now to about 6,700. And that 6,700 to me is a crucial zone because this area is where I would anticipate some selling or profit taking to be able to come in first. And that might cause our market to be able to show some rotation, some sideways, or even pullbacks into the market first. Now, that condition, I don't think will last so long because I think it just needs to be able to handle the selling that you have in the short term. But what I have in view in terms of the more positive outlook is that you can see the green dotted line I placed into the chart now is that you might get a pause somewhere in this area first, go through some profit-taking areas and some choppiness, and then maybe down the road you're going to see that the index will recover above that 6,700 and eventually make its way to next resistance, which I'm looking at somewhere closer to 7,100 to 7,500. I hope it can do that into the first 6 months, but there's a chance it could be just a little bit off that particular period. My bearish scenario, in case, let's say, April's conditions come out, is not going to be so bad. I think that even if the US market pulls back, it will not go into bear territory, which means it will not fall more than 20% of where it is today to the new level, because that's what a bear market entails. When you say bear market, that means from the highest point, it should fall lower than 20% of the value of that index. A correction is a swing down that's about 10 to 20%. And a pullback is from a light reaction to maybe almost 10% of a pullback. That's what a pullback is. So in my language, I'm looking maybe for a pullback, maybe the maximum correction, but maybe not enter bear market territory. And so in that aspect, you can see the red dotted line here. Our index would go back maybe between a range of 6,300, maybe 6,000 at maybe the worst. And unless nothing crazy happens into the conflict zones we have for a very different reason, I think we should be able to hold into that and continue on. If I can just show the rest. So I'm on the camp that I think we've seen the market bottom, right? I put likely up in that area up there, and the reason for that is because, like I said, we're in a staging point at 6,700. We need to break that to put the confirmation that I want to see as a technician in place to tell me that, okay, we're good. We're in a much wider rally now. By staying below 6,700, we'll probably go sideways until that breakout can happen. But other than that, I wanted to show you that every time the market bases out through a major bottom, the next swing always comes in to a new high, right? And since my anticipation is that we are coming off this major low, I think we should be looking further down the road and seeing where our portfolio is going to be going to maybe the next 1 or 2 years, hopefully into a new high, so not into a new low. I don't think we're in that camp, at least me. And so this is the US market, and I wanted to show you the sample I've been looking for in the US has been that graph that you have on top. That's an example of the S&P 500 back in 2004 and 5, and we seem to be somewhere in that kind of market condition. In the bottom, that is the S&P as of our last market outlook. And our last outlook, I said the S&P is overbought, but it needs to be able to do a little correction. And I drew what the correction would I thought it would look like, which is the dotted blue line you see in the bottom. And I want to show you what the US market did. So it did exactly that. So if you know, it almost did almost exactly what I was looking at. So it did chop around. It did have exactly the same number of swings down. And then it went into a new recent high, which, if you look at the chart on top, pretty much did the same thing. But we're now at that phase. If you notice, the red arrow line in the middle is telling you the US is coming to our phase where corrections are probably going to be seen, or pullbacks with corrections, and maybe sideways movement. So I am anticipating that we're probably going to see something similar. So the green line you see in the S&P is the range of the reactions that I'm anticipating into the US. Now, I will follow that particular scheme so long as my plan of action continues. But if you notice, there's a trend line that I've drawn in the lower chart. If that uptrend line breaks, then that's when her threats are becoming more real. And so I guess my advice to you would be control what you can, right, and manage what you cannot. And what that statement means is, right now, everything is still very much under control. We can become aggressive, be defensive. If things go wrong, I can pull the plug if I want to. I don't think I see something that's going to hurt us with a snap of a finger and put us under jeopardy. So because of that, you participate in the market, put your elements inside, and if you feel that threats like this are just going to be something that's existing, then you manage it by controlling your size. But it doesn't mean that you don't have to participate in the market because you fear that there's a bear stalking outside the room right now, which may enter at any time. Just manage what you cannot.
Okay, Juanis, looks like there's an opportunity, at least for the next, 3 to 6 months, no? Recession may not happen right away, or the risks that April was saying it might not happen right away, and you have some kind of a window. Sorry, but maybe can I jump not to, I think, so that in the interest of time.
Yep.
I would like to jump not to, what are we going to do, diba? What are we going to do? Given the risk that April said, and the opportunity Juanis is saying, probably, baka pwede pang gumanin. What are we going to look at? I would like to look at this mixture of fundamental and technical. I want to make sure, like an investor, pag bumili ako, it has to be in a company naman that even if the risks happen, medyo resilient siya. In other words, if you're wrong, I mean, if you're wrong, at least the stocks that I have will be more or less resilient if April is right. And if April is saying. Now, what are those stocks, April, siguro, I'll start with you. What are those stocks that we should look at? And then, I will move on to Juanis later to see what kind of timing we can look at it, di ba? Sige. Pwede ba yun? Pwede ba yun? Can we just jump to the stock picks of April so that ano pagpipilian namin at least, di ba?
Okay, so yeah, I guess sabi mo, ang dami mo naman pinili dyan. Ano ba talaga? No, but you know, if you ask me, okay, sabi nga ni Lorraine, ano ba yung nakastar? Yung nakastar dyan, yun yung, kasi always, ang dami naman yan. If I only were to pick 5, what are the 5 stocks that I really like? So, the 5 stocks that I really like would be a REIT, C-REIT, Aboitiz Power, SM, and Monde. And I'll just explain why. Because mas defensive tayo ngayon. So, we look at companies that will be more resilient if something bad happens. And also, another theme na medyo sure tayo is, of course, is the peaking of inflation, and interest rates. So if that happens, therefore, there will be a shift towards income, and you have A REIT and C REIT and Aboitiz Power, all good income payers, high dividend yield, good valuations. That's why I like them. SM is more of a defensive consumer company and a large cap, which is why I like it. Monde, of course, medyo defensive din yan, and beneficiary of falling commodity prices, falling wheat prices, falling palm oil prices. And I think the shareholders have done a pledge to buy back the shares of the meat alternative business or corn if they don't do well, which is also good. And valuations are reasonable, 18 times PE. Alam naman natin, kahit magka-recession, kakain pa rin ang tao ng instant noodles, di ba? So yeah, I mean, those are the reasons why we like it. We like those stocks. Yung kanina may mga nagtanong na sa A-REIT eh. Kasi di ba, fresh na fresh. They sold shares.
The placement.
Yeah, so I just want to tell everybody, huwag kayo matatakot. It is an opportunity to buy because the company will be injecting, or Ayala Land, which is the sponsor, will be injecting a huge amount of properties into a REIT. And they need to do the placement so that they can maintain the 33% float that is required of all REIT companies. Ngayon, ang tanong, will they become a distressed seller? And the answer is no, because once those assets are injected into a REIT will become big enough, in our opinion, to become an index member. Okay, so si fund manager, malamang pag binentahan ng shares ng A-REIT, they will not say, bahala ka, bibili na lang ako sa market. Diba? So, that's it. I mean, if you have the opportunity to buy shares of A-REIT at, say, 30 pesos, I think it's a good opportunity. The yield will be at around 7% at that level. So, yeah, I think it's a good opportunity to buy that.
Good, good. So we have about 12 stocks here. Incidentally, you don't have to take a picture. We already have it in your manual there, no? You can bring it home and then study it. Meron din siyang ano dito, mga fair value, buy below. That's very critical, the buy below prices. That's the price that April believes that mukhang anything below that, that is a good opportunity for you and to put in your portfolio. And I think April does this on a monthly basis, diba? She has calling the shots on a monthly basis. I suggest you look at that also so that you be better guided. Okay, I'll jump to Juanis na. So you have these 12 stocks already. Kung meron kayo dyan, this is the guide that you have. Let's look at how we're going to trade it naman, diba? In terms of the technicals. How are we going to approach this? We can jump to the strategy or trading strategy that Juanis kind of prepared. Juanis, you have something there?
Yeah, I think they'll let them move it to
Kasi we wanted to see, ito na yung stocks. Ano ba yung views mo dyan? Anong tactical view mo dyan sa mga yan? How do we approach it?
Okay. So I guess my view for the trading recommendation really is you want to keep yourself focused on which companies have been taken in the popularity because volume is present, your downside might not be too heavy, and after correction, they'll be the first to move again, right? So here you want to stay with the strong trades or the issues that have been climbing well, have been resilient, and you will see more activity come from there. Preferably if your stocks are trading over a 100-day EMA, I mean, that is a benchmark that I'd like to keep. Second is, I think the corrections that will be coming up are opportunities for you to enter. And if you guys want to top slice or take some profits, you might want to be able to do that already into the short term and then wait for the opening for the corrections and then buy it back. Excuse me. But I would caution you not to sell everything, okay? So if you were to have, let's say, a portfolio of a stock and you have 100% of what you're owning, let's say, in whatever stock you have, whatever it be, and you want to be able to take some profit, maybe keep about 70 to maybe 50% of what you have, profit take the half, and then you use that cash to buy back later. Now, why do I want to do that? Because it's very difficult to say whether the pullbacks will be very deep or not. And if you're left without a position, you might find yourself having to buy back at a higher price later. So you want to have some of that core into your portfolio, so just in case things are not as soft as they would be, at least you'll have a good chunk of your position in there. Next is, can I just hold this through and through without taking any profits? Yes, but in my experience, many people usually get scared when prices go into correction mode. You might tell yourself, no, I'll just hold on to it right now. Then you see your stock price start to erode in a reaction, and then here comes your nervousness comes in, and eventually you're going to convince yourself to sell. Unfortunately, by that time, you're coming near the correction base. So it's either you do it now or you make sure you put your seatbelt on, right? Because you don't want to sell in the ultimate low. And last, if you're thinking of doing switching, that means sell your good stock to buy a laggard. You can do that, but please remember, laggards take time to climb. And more likely, those leaders will move first before your laggard moves. So I'd say wait for the first primary issues that move to start going through a profit-taking run. That's the only time you start looking at the laggards later, because that's when the money flow will turn. While the strong ones are moving, it might be hard for your laggards to move, and it might take you a longer time to wait. Right? So yes, I think there will be a time for them, but it'll be after the primary issues will move some into corrective phase first. So I guess ideally, if you decide to do the strong type of trade or the weak trade, or the laggard or the leader, which you have over here, I just included the technique for you to use the technicals as your guide and how to be able to strategically move inside. So I put some parameters there for traders to use in case you might want to have a look at them. So remember, the one on the left is for stronger issues as they go to profit taking, then how far down you should look at, and then when to execute the buy conditions, and make sure that if you top slice or take some profit, you don't sell the whole thing. All right, and then remember, you're supposed to buy back. Okay, you're not supposed to just completely go to another stock. For those who bought the laggard, like I said, you're going to have to strap yourself in, because it's very hard to tell whether they'll move right away. So a lot of people are asking me stocks like Globe Telecom, Converge, Nickel Asia. They're all really very weak, right? So you stay first with the leaders. When it's time for you to do switch, they will tell you that they're moving already or they're trying to reverse. That's the time that you come to be able to look at those stocks again.
Yeah, I think it's also here in your manual, so might as well look at it as well. Now, if you look at the strengths and weaknesses you're mentioning, Juanis, can you just put together all of these stronger issues? And then I think we prepared something like the stronger issues. And can you explain that, how we can kind of outplay the market with using this chart?
All right, I put together a table that I've categorized the issues into their trend form. And the reason why I do this is because, you know, you got almost 200-300 stocks to pick from in the Philippines. And when you look at all of them all together, it's kind of hard to say, where do I go? Here, here, here. This one's cheap, this one's expensive, this one's moving, this one's not. And it's quite cluttered. So again, what I do is I categorize everything so that I ask myself, what do I want to do? Do I want to stay with the laggard? Or do I want to be with the leader? Or do I want to try a bit more exciting action by staying in something that could become a leader? And so you have this table in front of you where it says leaders, hopefuls, and laggards. The leaders are clear winners. They've been going up. They've been doing very well. You're waiting for entry points for this stock, so it's easy to know your strategy is the same for all of them. Then you have the one in the middle, which is what we call your hopefuls. These guys, they look like they've recovered. They're encountering some major resistance, or they're building area patterns right now, and they could just be waiting for a key breakout or a punch through a particular resistance that will allow it to start to mobilize again. So I keep it there as a standby just in case I see an activity happen in some of those, and you can see some of the names listed there. And the ones ultimately on the right side, personally, I will not jump into there until I see they become either a hopeful or a leader. And that way, I don't have to be all over the place. My mind is fixed, focused, I'm on target, my strategy is the same, and I don't have to be too complex with what I'm doing. And these are all index stocks. And I have another table here to show you some other non-index stocks in case some of you guys would like to delve in those particular types of issues as well. You can clearly see from the chart that there are much more leaders in our market now than there are laggards. And that these two charts, tables I've shown you, also contribute to the fact that it's telling me that the breadth of the market, in other words, how many issues there are in the market, seem to be more bullish rather than bearish. And that adds also to the optimism.
Yeah, pero Juanis, ang dami. Teka muna, ang dami. Can we just maybe choose 6? Maybe 5 or 6?
Okay.
And let's dig deeper and understand what the entry points are, what the prices you're looking at. What are your stock picks and how do you handle that?
So I'll try to do what April did, which is roughly zone into 6 of my favorites. Amongst the banks, BDO, a major breakout that took place not so long ago, and of course prices had gone up quite well, so all I'm waiting for here is a good entry point for BDO, so I put support range between 134 to 131 as potential entry spots for you. BPI and Metrobank look pretty decent as well, but I like this better. But I could easily include the other two into my category, but since we're choosing favorites here, I'll stick with this. Next, I have Jollibee. I know April finds this extremely expensive now, but same token, I want to buy this into a correction. Look at that trend, very strong. So I really want a correction to come out of this so I can get a better buy promise. What you don't see in this chart, that if you look 2 years ago, there's been a big sideways pattern for Jollibee, and it recently broke through that pattern. So, you know, to us technicians, that's a very exciting feat because it's telling us a new trend has been generated by Jollibee. So all we're just waiting for is a better entry point, right? And so we want to come back into the stock. I'm looking between 257 first support, next is 243 to about 235. ICTS, I mean, you know, almost in the last couple of weeks, I've always been seeing this issue in the top traded stock, right? And volumes have been clearly better. It's always been heading into the top category compared to what it was like before. Before it used to be a long sleeper, but today it's been quite active. And look at the chart on your own, like big breakouts from the bottom. It's building a new pattern now, so let's look to buy this into weakness. And I'm looking between 235 or maybe 227 to 224 as an entry spot for ICT. Meralco I like also because it's had a strong come on in terms of its move upwards. But similar to the others, I want it to bank off. So support 375 to 370. If we're lucky, it can go a little bit lower than that, maybe 356 to about 350. That'll be better. But I'll be happy with the first range of a pullback. Ayala Land, I do like. I also like A-REIT, by the way. It's up to you which, if you want to choose the property developer directly for its growth or A-REIT for the dividends. I mean, I think they're A-okay, especially with the prospects that April talked about. With dividend, that looks good. So buy this also into a pullback as well. And I also like Monde. The reason for Monde is a little bit different. I can see a particular pattern there, which I'd like to see. We call this a cup and handle. This particular type of pattern shows you that it's being accumulated. And because of that, that would eventually tighten the share holdings of this company, which could contribute to its advance later on. But of course, the pattern's not finished yet, so it might need to wind up a little bit more. So a break of that horizontal red line that you see up there, that's roughly about 895, 894. A break above that should tip you off that it's getting ready to move faster. So right now, maybe just gradually accumulate it first and prepare yourself to the potential upswing that can take in. I'm looking at 9 pesos 80 to about 10 pesos 90 cents as a target price for this later on down in Monde.
Yeah,
There
so
you have it.
you have 6 stocks there. What? BDO, Jollibee, what? ICT, Meralco, Ali, Monde. Yan. Marami na tayong pagpipilian. Incidentally also, we asked the audience their top most requested stocks. Kasi not all of these are in your portfolio, but we asked you, and let's ask them their views on those specific stocks for the next 10, 20 minutes, the top requested stocks, one by one. And then after that, we'll take a break, and then we'll do your Q&A. Okay, one by one, let's go. On the first stock, what do we have? Metrobank. Juanis, what does it look like? I think you mentioned it.
Metrobank is in a rally phase right now. So just like what I said in BDO, wait for pullbacks for this, and I'll be looking for potential entries. They wrote down the support for me, so I have a código. So it's 54.80 or somewhere within that range should be a good area to look for better buys for Metrobank. There will be a problem at 60 because that's major resistance. So the nice thing about BDO is it's above that major resistance. So that's why I prefer that as against this one.
April.
Yeah,
Fundamentals.
okay. So Metrobank is my top pick among the banks because of its strong asset quality, high NPL cover, ibig sabihin, well-provisioned, even if those non-performing loans go sour. And loans to deposit ratio still very low, meaning it's still using its low-cost deposits to lend out money, making it less vulnerable to falling interest rates. And then, the high capital adequacy. So what's the relevance of it? Remember, Metrobank has been paying huge cash dividends, special cash dividends. So the ability to continue paying those huge cash dividends will depend on your capital adequacy. And the dividend season is coming up soon, and we think there's a good chance that Metrobank will again pay huge cash dividends this year. I think the past 2 years, it's 3 peso per share. Although I think the regular is probably only 160. So, I think it's 50 pesos ba, no? So you do the math, 3 pesos versus 50, 60, that's a good dividend yield. Yeah. And then valuations, very cheap, below book value. Whereas BPI, BDO are already above book value. So I think
so good fundamentals and the chart looks good. Wait for it to correct. That's for Metrobank. Next stock, Ayala Corp. Juanis.
Yep. So Ayala Corp also staged quite a bit of a rally. It went over resistance for a while, but quickly pulled itself back in. I think the issue really was the placement that had taken place, or the sale of its BC. So I think it's just trying to recover from that, because many times in the past, of the minute Mitsubishi sold shares, Ayala Corp normally tends to droop for a while. So give it some time to be able to rewind, but I think it's okay, no problem.
Yeah, with the placement, April, paano yan?
Oo nga sabi. Well, I guess maybe that's a short-term overhang. But yeah, in terms of valuations, no problem. And then, of course, it's a diversified holding company. And it has strong balance sheet. So, fundamentally, wala namang problema. Pero yun nga, baka nga, I think, maybe that could be an overhang. The potential of Mitsubishi to fully liquidate those shares, no?
So you would have preferred the operating company rather than this one?
I think for now, better focus on that rather on this one.
Yep. Okay, next, I think this one, a lot of you own this also. ASEN, Juanis?
Still into a downtrend, so I want to take my time. I don't think I need to jump in here right now. And I need to allow this to show me something more before I would get interested, because while it's still into a downtrend, I could be trading something else. So, mamaya na yan.
But fundamentally, April, how does it look?
Fundamentally, I think the major change is, before we always said that ASEN is expensive. Now it's no longer expensive.
Kasi lumaglag na.
The problem is, I mean, the story is still good. The most aggressive expansion, fastest earnings growth, play on renewable energy. But I guess the problem is, hindi uso ang renewable ngayon. Oo, because oil prices are not as high as they used to be. Coal prices are also not as high as they used to be. So, yun yung issue. Kaya, syempre, pag mura na yung gas, di gagamitin mo na yung gas. Gagamitin. There's no urgency anymore. Okay, and remember, because this company is into expansion, mataas yung execution risk and also delays in project completion. I think that's why the earnings, there were times when they disappointed because syempre, you know, when you're doing a lot of things, there's a tendency that you will disappoint. And then, matipid sa cash dividends. Usually you buy property, power companies because you want the cash dividends. But since ASEN is a growing power company, the dividend yield is only 1.4%, so mababa siya.
Yeah. So, but the valuation is attractive already, more or less. Kaya
Attractive
lang,
na siya.
it might take a while.
It might.
Yeah.
Tsaka hindi nga uso.
Hindi pa uso.
Hindi pa uso, hindi pa panahon.
Okay, next stock. Oh, the largest bank, BDO. Juanis, how does it look?
Well, I talked about this earlier, so I'm
Yeah.
okay with this. Yeah,
Yeah, we're okay
maybe
with that.
April, yeah.
Sige,
We
April.
also like it actually, except we prefer lang Metro Bank. Pero okay rin siya, wala namang problema. Kasi of course, it's the largest bank, and then lalo na pag bumaba interest rates, then loan demand picks up. I mean, you know, BDO is one of the most aggressive in terms of loan growth. So no problems with it.
Okay, good. BDO is good. Top pick of Juanis. Next, Ayala Land.
Well, I also talked about
this.
Yeah, Ali. I think it's still quite good, and I'm looking to buy this into retracement to support.
Retracement muna. April?
Yeah, so we're also okay with Ayala Land. It will benefit from the peaking of interest rates, and of course, among the property companies, we like that it has a large portfolio of assets located across the country, and of course, different types of properties. The company already said it's targeting to double the profits from 03 to 08. 23 to 28, sorry, 03 to 08.
Ali or A-rate? One, April.
Siyempre, A-REIT yan.
Ako mas gusto ko A-REIT, diba, na star ko. No. Let me just explain. Kasi, okay, if you have a concern of a potential contagion, syempre, okay, if you think about 07, 08, syempre yung bebentahan yung mga stocks that are, what do you say, more of the discretionary stocks. And properties and banks are more discretionary type. Like when the economy weakens, sila yung mas sensitive.
Mga cyclical, yeah.
Oo. So that's why, I mean, A-REIT at least, diba? Parang may
Dividends
index.
pa.
Oh, may dividends. So, mas okay sa akin.
Yeah, prefer.
At least in the short term. Diba?
Okay, sige. Next, what stock? Oh, Semirara. Dami nitong dividends pa rin.
Yeah.
Juanis, did you look at this?
It looks like the worst is over for Semirara. I mean, the recovery was clear. A double bottom was generated, broke out of that. It's standing over its moving averages right now. It's just that it encountered some resistance at 32.25. Anyway, I think April will discuss the dividends for this. So I think pullbacks, go ahead and buy it.
Yeah, chart, okay.
Yeah, I guess it's like, di ba kanina we talked about Metro Bank and the payment of huge cash dividends. So Semirara, very cheap, and the prospect of giving huge cash dividends. So the dividend yield is 12.8%. So,
12.
And malapit na ang dividend season. So, baka yun, nagrarally. Yeah, so it's okay. We like it for that. Pero of course, the threat is coal prices if they go down. So we might see some volatility for Semirara, but valuations are very cheap and they're paying huge cash dividends.
Okay. All right, Semirara. Next, Aboitiz Power. Juanis?
Feels like it's in a toppish zone for now and major resistance, so I maybe won't be too aggressive here yet. Again, I would wait for more pullbacks for AP. And the pattern is not suggestive that heavy accumulation is taking place. So again, I want to see something better right now. Yeah.
So look like hitting
kinda neutral,
kind of a ceiling there, no?
Yeah.
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 On the fundamentals, April.
Okay, kami fundamentally okay naman kami.
Okay naman.
It's actually one of my top 5 picks.
Yeah.
Oo.
Yeah.
So we believe it's a defensive play and a beneficiary of the tight power supply situation in the country. It has an attractive valuation and provides a dividend yield of 4.9%. So yun.
Good. Sige. We have 3 more. Next, let's go through it. Oh, REIT, I think we discussed this already.
We
no?
discussed, so we can skip that.
Oh,
Siguro,
yeah.
Oo.
We can skip this. Globe, ito, telco. Juanis.
Not yet. My
Don't
interest.
like
I still don't like it. It still seems to be having some problems on the supply side, and I know there is an attempt to try to accumulate this stock right now, but what I need to see is, has enough of the resistance been taken out? And so far, the picture I'm seeing, it says not yet. So I'm staying away until I see something a bit more on the demand side pick up. So not yet.
Yeah, April. May ano di ba?
Yeah, I think
IPO?
that's what's causing people to be excited. The IPO of GCash.
GCash.
Oo. Pero if we take that out of the equation, I mean, first of all, okay, we don't know for sure if they'll do an IPO in current market conditions. Because, I mean, you think about it, if you own a GCash, you want to get max valuations. At this market, you're not gonna get that. So, but yeah, GCash is IPO ready because it's profitable. But that said, I'm quite concerned about the core operation, which I find kind of disappointing because they sold the towers, diba? And I was anticipating that because of the tower sale, their P&L would actually improve, because one of the issues that they have is you have your top line, your revenues growing single digits. You know, mobile is mature, and then they're not big on the broadband business. In fact, the broadband business bumababa pa kasi they picked a strategy where they would focus on wireless broadband. Unfortunately, ayaw na ng tao ngayon ng wireless. Gusto nila fiber, di ba? So, tinatamaan sila dun sa strategy na yan. And then, okay, but that said, they have to spend a lot on capital expenditures, which meant that they had to borrow a lot of money to, paano yan yung top line mo, single digit lang tumataas. So, the P&L is kind of bad. So, they sold the towers, which I thought was gonna be good, kasi you generate cash flow and then your expenses would be more stable. Well, unfortunately, we didn't see that. The 9-month profit is still down. So yeah, I'm just not so happy about the core operations. And then, you know, potentially this GCash IPO might be delayed.
Yeah.
Tsaka dividend yield niyan 5.7 So, but PLDT gives you 7%. So, and the profits are more stable.
Yeah, right. So that, I think that's the last stock that we have, PLDT, you know. Next stock is PLDT, you know. One is out of this chart. Mukhang market.
Yeah, looks like it's okay. Not very strong on the uptrend, but that's because there's a key resistance right where it is right now. So if you can somehow break over 1,300, I think you'll probably see a smoother recovery take place for PLDT. It's trying right now. It's trying to work off that resistance. So right now I'm waiting to see if the decision is to break out or whether it's going to continue to react. So my fingers on the buy button, but I'm waiting for a trigger to let me go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's better than Globe?
Better than Globe. So for the telcos, this is my top pick, PLDT, because of the higher cash dividends and not exciting profit growth, but you know, I mean, it's just being a telco. Telco being a telco, being your boring dividend-paying stocks. But at least, you know, looks like for them the earnings are more stable.
Defensive.
Mas defensive to.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. You have 10 stocks already that have been taken up fundamentally, technically at least. Hopefully you got some notes so you can outplay the market moving forward. At this point,
Yes.
Dino?
Yeah. Thank you. A lot to unpack there. So at this point, we will have a short 10-minute break. Of course, for everyone to unpack what was discussed now, and maybe it's a good time to list down all your questions again. on the pamphlet. There's a QR code for the Slido. You can start putting in your questions already because after brunch that will be served now, in 10 minutes, we will begin the Q&A session.
Okay.
All right. So
Break muna.
they will be back on stage for the Q&A session.
Break. Thank you.
could ask everyone to please settle down so that we can get the ball rolling with the Q&A. We'll start in a few minutes. Kindly take your seats. Okay, thank you. We hope you enjoy the light snack. 2 sliders. Actually, it's a lot naman. All right. Again, I'd like to remind everyone that you could submit your questions through the through Slido. So the instructions are up on the screen, and you can also find the QR code on the pamphlet that was given to you. Yes, that's the easiest way to put in your questions. Otherwise, you can come up. There's a mic. You can raise your hand. We can pass the mic to you, or you can write down a few questions and pass it on to any member of COL. All right, I'd like to call back on stage our experts, Marvin, Juanis, and April, so that we can begin the Q&A. So yeah, please feel free to put in those questions again.
All right. All right. At this point, we'd like to start with the advanced questions. We asked you to give us what are your questions and then sent us earlier. And I think we grouped them together, and we'll start with that, and then we'll go on with the live questions after. Guys, can we come up with the first few group questions? Okay, it's about the economy. Question by Orlando and 2 others. I guess this is for you, April. How do you foresee interest rates in 2024? April?
Syempre down. No, coming from a very high base in 23, I mean, it should be going down. Even if you look at naman, diba, inflation went up a little bit because of the rice prices in the 3rd quarter. But I guess the days where, you know, you saw mga 8-9%, mga ganun, but tapos na yan. So at least it's, that one I think should be going down, because one of the reasons also would be the supply chain issues.
Do you have some kind of an estimate how?
Okay, so the BSP, for example, is saying mga 75 basis point cut on and then the Fed is 75, but of course the market is pricing in 150. So I think 75 at least.
Okay. Next question by Randy. Do we expect another round of inflation caused by continued increase in rice prices and tensions from Red Sea?
I think it's more of inflation staying elevated rather than rising substantially at this point, because the prices are already very high anyway.
Yeah. There were estimates on the 1st quarter because of the base effect. Bababa.
Bababa pa rin.
But because of this rise, and I think the other one is the El Nino, di ba?
Yeah. So the rice price will stay high. But because of the base effect, it could go down. Kasi mataas pa yata yung oil nung first quarter.
The inflation, yeah. Okay, that's question on the economy. Next, by Socorro Maria and 4 others. What are the catalysts for foreign funds to come back to the PSEI? April? Catalyst.
Catalyst? Siguro yung Forex, that's one of the things they look at if the peso strengthens, which means that the Fed has to stop raising rates, di ba? Yeah, that would be one. And then the second one, unfortunately, would mean China has to really recover so that the funds will flow back to Asia.
Emerging markets.
Unfortunately, China doesn't look good.
So not much yet for foreigners. Di ba foreigners have gone down so
Yeah.
low in terms of their selling throughout the years? Kailan kaya
They've
babalik yan?
net selling, oo. But don't worry. I mean, yeah. Well, in the future, if the US goes into a recession, then they may look for alternatives. But, you know, never say never because, for example, Japan, after so many years, bumalik sila, di ba?
Yeah.
Oo.
Okay. Juanis, do you have...
Well, for the Philippines, I think yesterday we were looking at different markets in Asia, and we were not amongst the top movers in Asia.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of how it would contribute to this is we probably need to see the other Asian markets continue to go up to a higher valuation and only yank us in later when we feel to be too far a distance already in terms of valuation. But right now, I think it'll be more gradual.
Yeah, start first with the other markets, then
Yeah.
us. Yeah. Okay. Next, for the Philippine outlook, asked by Joseph, what are the best case and worst case scenarios in the local stock market? Maybe, Juanis, you might want to look at the chart on what's the best case and worst case in the local stock market?
Well, if you're talking about the index, again, I think my point of view, looking at least the 6 months, would be 7.5 best case. On a worst case situation, 6,000.
6,000 in the worst case and 7.5 on the best case.
Yeah.
But what stage, a question by Alvin, what stage are we in the market cycle as far as the PSE is concerned?
I think we're in the beginning of a bullish market already. So we have, I think pretty much I can say we've bottomed.
Well, more or less bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. More or less bottom. It's the start of a bull market. Hopefully soon.
Yeah, I want to add lang. Anyway, do I have to answer the first one? Best case.
Best and worst, yes.
I think best case, we re-rate back to 16 times PE because now we're 11 times PE. And if we do that, we'll retest the 2019 high.
Ooh.
Kasi nag-grow naman yung EPS natin eh. Hindi naman, I mean, we're not that bad, you know.
Yeah.
You still see some growth. So yeah, a retest of the 2019 high.
Which is?
Mga 9.1, yeah, ganun. Best case. Worst case, of course, if the market gets sold off because of contagion. So that's 9 times PE. So -2, kasi we're now doing 11 times.
No, but for the next 3 to 6 months lang, more or less. Best and worst.
From here, plus 1,500 points on the best case. De, pero base case namin kasi 7.1 by year end eh. So, yeah, I'd probably be a weak bull. On the best case is a weak bull.
I'll
For
take
me. For me. Oo.
Sige. All right. Next set.
Tsaka yung market cycle, ako mas
Market cycle, sorry.
mas bottoming out.
Bottoming out also.
No interest phase, not yet early bull. Parang that's me.
At least bottoming out for both. Okay. Sector outlook. In the next 6 months, which sectors will lead the market and which will lag? Asked by Victor and 6 others. Sectors. April?
I think I shared na I'm still more defensive because of my concerns nga that we could see a contagion.
Yeah. What are those sectors? Is that...
Yun nga, power, maybe some consumers that are more, not the retailers, more of the manufacturers and more of those that are non-discretionary.
Non-discretionary.
Like CNPF, URC, and Monde, di ba? Telcos, di ba?
Okay. Do we still have questions? REITs. Will REIT recover in 2024? Maybe one is April, in general, REITs. And then ito.
Yeah. So REITs, hindi siya across the board. Okay. So, although, they will benefit from expectations of lower interest rates. Yan, high conviction yan, low interest rates or falling interest rates, high conviction. The problem is a lot of our REITs are office sector REITs. Okay. And when we talk about the office sector, the situation is still not yet expected to turn around in 2024 because there is an oversupply of offices right now. Therefore, the dividends of these REITs might not be as stable. Kasi syempre, alam mo naman, ang REITs hindi naman guaranteed yung mga dividends. Okay, so like your PhilREIT, RCR, DDMPR, and MREIT. Those are
your top REITs. What are your top?
C-REIT, which is
C-REIT,
into power,
yeah.
and A-REIT.
And A-REIT. C-REIT and A-REIT. All right. So how confident is COL with REIT stocks compared to property stocks like Ali? Oh, may SM Prime pa dito.
Okay. So, SM Prime, ayun na lang. Sa lahat naman na pag-usapan na natin. SM Prime, okay. Okay naman siya because, okay, the only time in the longest amount of time that I've been working na bumaba yung profits is during the pandemic. Because otherwise, they just keep on collecting rent and then it always goes up. Diba? So super defensive. SM
Mall.
Prime super
These are
defensive.
mall REITs.
Yeah. And in a way, nag-derate na rin yan eh. So okay naman. Now, the question is, I think the big question that everybody has in their minds is, what if SM Prime does a REIT? Will investors, instead of buying SM Prime, buy the REIT instead, no? Which could happen. We could see a derating of SM Prime. So, yun ang concern nga, kung natuloy yung REITs ni SM. So for me, I think maybe I'd stay away. I'd stay away for now because I don't know what will happen. And it could be sold down because of that, right?
It depends on what SM Prime will plug
Inject.
to the REIT, no? And we see siguro when they offered. Was it postponed or are they pushing through with the
I
SM
think
Prime?
maybe that postponed, but hindi naman na sinabi na they're not gonna do it ever. They might still push through with it this year if conditions are better. Maybe if interest rates go down, then, you know, it's a means for them to raise funds for their reclamation project. So they might still push through with it.
Okay, so I think that's the last of the advanced questions. At this point, we're opening the floor for live questions. You have mics as well as Slido. But is there anybody who would like to approach the mic? Yeah, we have a gentleman there. Can anyone give him a mic? Yes.
Good morning.
Morning.
Is there really a basis for us to believe that amending the Constitution through specifically the economic provisions of the Constitution would encourage foreign investments and therefore encourage foreign direct investment and all these things and help the economy? Thank you.
Thank you for that. Anybody who wants to? April?
I think yung mga foreign ownership limits, yun yung, I think that's the part that they want to address. The ability of foreigners to own certain industries. But then again, there are already certain industries where they were allowed to own more. With the Retail Trade Liberalization Act and then the Public Service Act, amendments to those two. I don't know really what other provisions they will change there to allow foreigners to own more or...
But I guess the question was, is there really a reason for...
I think it's more than just the Constitution. They have to do more actually to attract the foreign investors to come in.
Yeah.
Naalala ko si DOF Secretary dati, si Carlos Dominguez eh. Sabi niya, who's going out there and courting them? Because you have your rules, but you don't go out there, you don't talk to potential investors. How are you gonna get them to come in? So I think the government has to do that also.
So far, the president has been going out, you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, maybe that's why they, they appointed Secretary Go.
yeah.
Yeah, special. It's a new position. Yeah.
Oh. Oh, you moderate. Yesterday, you had a
Yes,
session
yes.
with DecGo. Baka you might want to share. to them?
It's still quite early, but he said he will, medyo tama naman, they will be focusing on certain sectors where they feel that we're good at, like semiconductors, steel, pharma, hindi ko na maalala yung iba. What else? I think, yeah, those sectors. And then agriculture yan. Kasi tinanong ko, inflation has always been a problem. So they said, yeah, we're going to address that also. Because if you think about it, I think it's a big thing if they are able to address that. Because sabi nga ni Anton Periquet, sabi niya, you think about it, our salaries here are much lower, but the prices of our groceries are similar to those in developed countries. So kawawa talaga ang Pilipino. So if you address that agriculture problem, then in a way you you really help Pinoys and you boost their ability to spend on other things. So yeah, I think at least the government kind of knows, and I hope that they will actually do something about it.
Yeah, they kind of know what to do, no? Just see how it goes. Any other questions, please, from the floor? Anyone? Can use the mic. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Joseph. I have a suggestion and a question. No? So yung suggestion, I don't know if any of you remember, but many years back, I suggested maybe we could have something like a Miss April tracker fund. So that, we don't have to figure out the allocation anymore and just put the money in the fund. Automatic na. Yun. So that's one. I think now you have yung COL managed funds now, right?
Yes,
So maybe you can do that. Kasi back then when I suggested that, puros outside funds pa eh. So yun. So that's one.
Okay.
And then the question is, how likely is it that we would have a fund that is exposed to cryptocurrency, just like the Bitcoin ETF in the United States?
Yeah. Okay. Can I answer the first?
I think you should answer both.
No. The first one, if we have a fund that is an April tracker fund, what we launched is a COL Strategic Growth Fund, but it's not just an April tracker fund. It's a combination. Actually, it's managed by a group we call Investment Committee, which includes me, April, Juanis, Mr. Edward Lee, and Dino Bate. So we have a weekly meeting. We listen to April, we listen to Juanis, and we combine that. So it's not exactly an April tracker. It's a COL kind of tracker fund. So it's a COL Strategic Growth Fund. We launched it in October. You're also free to, it's in the platform. You can participate in that also. Para hindi na kayo mag-isip. kami na yung papadyak. Kind of thing. Sige. Second is the crypto, no? Crypto. Wala. It's in the US. I think they accepted it already from some big houses. Dito, we still don't have a regulation for that. It might be under the commodities or in terms of the regulatory framework. But wala pa kasi what we have in the SEC are mutual funds that has underlying fundamental information and securities really under it. Crypto, it has to be attached to a foreign, di ba? It's kind of a derivative eh. Wala naman tayo kasing crypto dito. So the fund that may be launched here is a kind of following the price of that let's say Bitcoin. But not yet. It's not yet available. I don't think it will be in the near future. Do you have anything to add?
No, it's about right.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that question. Any other questions? We can... Is somebody raising hands? No? Okay. Sige. Maybe you can look at the slide first, no? From Pepe Gaspar here. How can we be affected if US will have a recession? Then they no longer have material position in their portfolio in PSEI. Again, how's that? Did you get the question?
Kung wala naman daw silang hawak, paano ba sila magbebenta? Di ba? Yun ang ibig sabihin nyo. Tama ba yun?
Yun ba
Ay,
yun?
may nagtanong. Are you
Yes,
Pepe?
yes, good morning. Good morning, Miss April. Actually, I attended the seminar yesterday,
Oh.
and you told na ubos na yung foreign funds. Actually, sold out na sila lahat. So how can we be affected by them if US is a recession? Eh wala na silang mabenta.
Di naman out na out. But I'm sure meron pang konti. But okay, you think about it. The value turnover is so thin. So kahit konti yan bebenta, since nobody will buy, they have to sell at a much lower price. So that is the problem. Even though what they have left is not a lot. If the volume is not there, then they sell it down. Yun, lack of liquidity, and then the rush to exit. That could cause the prices to go down. Which is why also, I just want to say, na like me, you might say, April is so bearish naman, so I'll just sell everything. No, I'm not recommending that you sell everything because, okay, during the start of a bull market, usually the volume is very thin. Like right now, you know, the value turnover is parang mahirap. So, if you want to come in, let's say wala kang hawak, and then, start of a bull market, I want to come in. Usually, during the start of a bull market, the volume is not there. And when you want to accumulate a big position, it's tough because the volume is not there. So in some ways, it kind of makes sense to, you know, just have a little bit so that, you know, at least hindi ka maiwanan totally. No? So that's just the dynamics of it. Na the volume usually is very thin, which is why, you know, when prices go up right now, they go up so fast. And, diba, then very thin volume because you don't have so many sellers and you also don't have so many buyers.
And it can also come from the locals, di ba? Can also come
Pwede
from
rin.
Yeah. Next question from Slido. We have from Alvin. Is that the one? Yeah, from, I think, Doc Alvin. Is fixed income still asset to own now, or should we start allocating to equities? What ratio do you recommend?
Yeah, ako oo. Yeah, I'm still recommending investing in fixed income because, okay, like bonds, because of course, you know, interest rates are starting to go down, so you would want to lock in a certain portion of your assets there. And of course, as interest rates go down, potentially you could also enjoy trading gains. So, may capital appreciation plus income, no? Should we start allocating to equities? For me, maybe not yet time to increase your allocation. I guess what you have, you maintain. And if you have too much, maybe sell a little bit so you have some extra cash because there could be an opportunity to buy at much cheaper prices. Yeah.
Yeah, if I can add, no, as far as the COL Strategic Growth Fund is concerned, we do this, we allocate fixed income equity, just to share with you. At the start, we are very low. Puro fixed income. Kasi ang ganda ng fixed income eh. Even now, it's still fixed income. We allocated about 70-80% in fixed income at the start of the year. Pero when we saw the start of the running up, we accumulated a lot of stocks to about 70%. Right now, it's about 70%, and it's we're equities, no, 70%. Pero may fixed income pa rin ng 30%. In other words, what we wanted is to have some kind of a dry powder, just in case the market goes down, we come in. Mas tactical yun, for trading purposes also. We're very fast in moving. In a few days na napapalitan yung asset allocation. For traders, I guess, good also to allocate fixed income. But if you're really in the market, within the stock portfolio that you have, follow what April and Juanis said. Within the stock portfolio, you have the stock picks, and then the timing of Juanis in terms of how you come in and out on those particular stocks. Okay. Next question. Do we have another question from Slido? From Joey Alonzo. Can you flash that? Yeah. How accurate is the statement that a sign of major change happens after 3 trend line breaks? Hi, I think Juanis is the one you presented earlier.
Actually, it's very accurate. The reason is because uh, it's a process of turning itself around is what the trend line measures, right? The first very sharp trend line tells you the acceleration and the panic stage of a sell-off is done. The second trend line is usually broken after a little period of accumulation is already working itself in. And the third one is when a little bit more acceleration on the upside is already being broken. So by that time, clear evidence that the market has already recovered and it has even showing some acceleration. It's built in place. So that's why we wait for that signal to make sure that you have much more clear impact into the reversal condition. So it's a very accurate reading for us.
Do you recall any, I mean, in the past, no, in your experience, that has happened? Did you recall any situation like that?
It doesn't always happen that there will be 3 trend lines. That is the hard part about it. Sometimes your first trend line's broken, your stock starts to skyrocket. But normally, especially with indices and issues that take time to develop or turn, normally that's when we use these things.
Yeah. So
and like I said, it's very accurate because by the time the third trend line breaks, you already have good foundations and it's working to your favor already, so hard to go wrong.
Yeah, there you have it. So it's more reliable, so you may say. Sige. And at what index is that? The one that you has to break? The 6,700. Oh, very critical yon, 6.7. Okay, next. From DEX. How do foreign funds view the Philippine stock market relative to other emerging markets? One is you.
Yeah, I think I talked about that earlier. Especially for those who watched our video yesterday, I showed the snapshot of Asian markets, one after each other. And if you look at the, I think I put 9 or 12 different markets there in Asia. And we were number 4 from the bottom. So I wouldn't say we're in the top of mind of that list. And that's why earlier we were talking about what could drive more activity to the Philippines. You would need the other markets to continue climbing and show frothiness before they would do a switch and come back to us and generate that particular type of movement. So there are some other emerging markets that are leading. As compared to us.
Yeah.
So we're not in the top. We're not in the top caliber, at least not yet now.
You mentioned that April about China, diba?
Yeah.
It's part of the emerging market basket. How do foreigners?
Yeah.
See that?
Unfortunately, kasi Philippine market is very small, so they're not really that focused on us. It's more like,
Drop on the bucket.
Yeah, we're part of the basket, and then the other emerging markets go up. Yan, sige, sama natin yan. Yung ganun.
Yeah. All right. So hindi pa masyado, but yeah, sama kasi tayo sa China. Yeah. Next question. Do we still have any question from Jan Michael Poe? Which stocks are candidates for PSE index inclusion or exclusion? April, you have
Okay,
that?
so we talked about that. A REIT.
Maybe AP if things improve.
Well, for AP kasi, what needs to happen is somebody has to approach them and ask for a block.
Yeah.
Then, it's an instant, instantly they can already enter because the size of their market cap is so big anyway. So it's not an issue. It's more of the float na bumaba siya sa 20. But if somebody comes in and asks for a block na, let's say, an investor or a fund, then they can easily be added. And then there are talks, of course, of rumors. I don't know if it's true. Union Bank daw.
Union Bank?
Oo.
Could be.
That because right now, okay, the PSE has rules about, say, funds, like GSIS, SSS. So if you own enough to own a board seat, then you're not considered public float. But if SSS and GSIS own some shares but they don't own a board seat, then they are still considered public float. So there are talks that the Union Bank will do something such that the ownership of, I don't know, GSIS or SSS will be reverted back to private or something. Yeah, so it will be like public shares. If that happens, and baka bumalik sila sa index. Yun yung mga usap-usapin, yeah.
Possible.
But we don't know. Who might be removed, I think, yun na nga, Converge. The second possible one, geez, I don't know that one. Would you know, guys? Hindi rin nila alam. But anyway.
Depends on the volume, di ba?
Nickel Asia daw.
Nickel
Yung,
Asia.
yan. So, yung
Maybe
dalawang
that's why it's
pwedeng
been falling.
matanggal, Converge and Nickel Asia.
Possible exclusion and then possible
In
inclusion.
case dalawa
In case,
pumasok, yung matatanggal is Nickel Asia and Converge.
Converge, yeah. All right.
Maybe that's why it's been very weak. Ano?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Meron bang questions sa floor? Anybody? Ayun. We have a hand there. Yes, sir.
I just
Are you Mike? You Mike? Nawawala lang. Can you give him a working mic?
hello.
Yes.
Yeah. I just heard lang kasi na it's good to buy power stocks right now because the moment that Maharlika Fund will start investing, they will focus on power stocks. Is it true?
Anyone?
I don't know eh. I really don't know. And also, if they buy power stocks, will they be buying, those that are listed in the
Listed or
PSE,
not?
or will they be buying those, private, greenfield? Actually, yung mas mainit na pag-usapan is the Transco. Diba? Transmission.
NGCP.
NGCP,
Transmission lines.
yeah.
NGCP?
So that one, because actually, we don't really talk about it, but that's one of the bottlenecks in power, the transmission. Not Meralco. Meralco is distribution, so the transmission lines are kulang. So that business really needs funds, no? I'm not that familiar though with which one's listed ba? The one
NGCP?
NGCP. Di ko ganun kakabisado.
Ayun, mataas ang dividend. Very illiquid.
But they didn't pay yata cash dividends.
Yes, very high cash dividend.
Oo, but if they were, yun. That business, I remember during the IPO, the reason why we weren't so hot about it was medyo walang linaw kung ma-extend yung, yung term nung kanilang franchise. So that's why we weren't that keen about that.
I think the president of Maharlika, si Joel Consing, already mentioned yung plano nila to invest in developmental projects.
So mas,
more.
well, if it's developmental, it might be more of those solar capacity, if that were the case. And, maybe also the transmission lines. Because doon ang may bottleneck, yun ang kulang talaga ngayon. Sobrang kulang yan. And you need more transmission lines to do solar. Doon talaga yung bottleneck.
Juanis, do you remember yung SPNEC? Was it in your laggers or in your leaders?
SPNEC?
Yeah, did you?
I think it was probably in the leader or hopeful, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
So,
because
yun
it
lang
rallied,
yung-
yeah. It rallied.
Yeah. Okay, next, yan. You have another question? Yan, from the floor, there? Okay, sir?
Good morning po. In case of a war, what are your stock picks, short-term and long-term?
War. Depending, war. Ano kayang war? Whatever war.
Mahirap naman yan. Paano kung maganda nga business pero nabombahan yung planta? O, hindi natin alam. No, but, okay, I'll just tell you what sinasabi ng mga nasa States.
Yeah.
Sabi nila, okay, because of the rumors of wars, what you will notice actually is that countries are spending more on defense.
Defense.
Yes. So dapat, bumili kayo ng mga defense companies. Unfortunately, we don't have any of that here. Right? Or, you buy gold. Diba? Yung ganon. So gold or defense stocks. More of those.
I guess if there's a war, let's say, for example, in China or Taiwan or yung Red
I think that's
Sea.
the more important question.
Yeah, what?
War Where?
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 If you
Where?
talk about far away from us, then we can talk about stock picks. If the war is closer to us, I don't think your stock picks will work.
Yeah. Just in case it's outside. I think the gentleman's question is outside naman, ano? Sa labas naman eh. What maybe
I think
resilient stocks?
It depends also
Sure.
on what commodities will be affected, diba? Or what is the nature of
The war.
the country. Like, what do they produce? What will be in short supply because they're in war? Or, diba, what supply chain bottlenecks will be affected, diba?
Yung war nung Ukraine. Kunyari, there was a war in Ukraine. What stocks, do you remember which stocks were more resilient?
Oil. Because oil went up a lot because of that. And then, yung mga tinamaan would be the food companies because Ukraine is a big exporter of wheat, diba?
Wheat.
Yeah.
Commodities tinamaan.
Commodities.
Yeah. And airline tinamaan.
Yeah.
Cebu pa. Pero
Because
which
of the
one,
rising
which
oil
one was
prices.
resilient? Which one resilient?
I
The
think
banks?
the rest parang okay lang. Yun lang yung mga negatively affected. Or maybe those that produce wheat. Diba? But wala na naman tayo. Because we just import.
Yeah. Okay. Ayun, meron pa isa doon. Question?
Hi, good morning. My name is John.
Yes.
In the exponential rise of artificial intelligence, which companies will benefit the most?
AI. April, which one will benefit?
Well, unfortunately, in the Philippines, wala. No, kasi right now, we still don't know how companies can monetize AI, except if they are producing the chips that enable companies to do AI, then they will monetize. Like NVIDIA, diba? Or, it's an alternative, I forgot. But anyway, not yet. We don't know how it will be monetized. Therefore, it's hard to identify which companies outside of the chips companies will benefit.
The listed, wala eh, no? Listed. Maybe unlisted. These are your chip exporters.
Not in the Philippines eh. NVIDIA, diba, sa US.
Yeah. Meron pa, Jan? There.
Good morning. Given that we still have a fixed income component in our portfolio, what would be your strategy for fixed income in the next 6 months?
Can I...
Yeah, dapat ikaw. Ikaw talaga, oo.
Strategy in the fixed income. The expectation, sir, is that the fixed income will depend on how the Fed and the BSP will decide on when it's going to cut rates, right? But the consensus is like 75 to 100 basis points by the end of the year. But end of the year pa yon. Right now, if you're going to ask us for the next 3 to 6 months, I would well, this is for fixed income investors. No, the critical figure there is the duration of your fixed income portfolio. It's not the maturity; it's the duration. I would look more of the shorter or belly of the curve, meaning 3 to 5 years or 3 to 7 years. Concentrate on that, because if we cut interest rates, the BSP and the Fed cut interest rates. This is where the value will come in. Meaning, if rates go down by about 100 basis points, the shorter end or the belly, which is 3 to 7 years, will be the one really benefiting. So when interest rates go down, value of the fixed income will go up. So if you're a fixed income trader, that's my suggestion. But if you're just like a fixed income coupon, ano yan, yung buy and hold lang, I would look at the long term, like the 10 years. 6.25, 6.125 is already very attractive at that rate. Yung ano lang yun, buy and hold lang yan. If you're a fixed income investor na buy and hold. Pero kung trading ka, yung belly, meaning 3 to 7 years, that's where the value is coming in. All right? So, next. Meron pa? Meron pa doon? Good. You keep on asking questions para we can clarify things. Sir. Working mic. Ayan, ayan.
Hi. Excuse me. Hi. Hello. Okay. So since SPNEC was mentioned earlier, I just thought which one would be better, SPNEC or Meralco, since Meralco already bought a lot of shares of SPNEC. So parang ano bang difference?
Which one? Anong difference or which one do you...
Anong difference and which one would be better, a better buy?
Guys? Any ideas?
Ako, syempre, sabihin ko Meralco. Because, di ba, well, I've always been saying we should focus on the large caps first. Therefore, I'd buy Meralco. SPNEC probably, it's not yet going to be operational anyway. And then Meralco, you have your dividends. So it's a safer play for me. Maybe there will be time when SPNEC is already operational. Then that's the time I would buy it. You know, if the execution is good. Pero madugo pa yata. Marami pa yatang kailangan gawin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, during this time, there's still things that are being fixed inside. So I think it's safer to be into the more sure play right now than go into the other one.
Yeah, fundamentally sound stock is better. Anyone else from the floor? Meron pa? There. Sir. The one in white jacket.
Over the last few years, we've actually diversified some of our portfolio into dollar holdings, into dollar bonds.
Dollar bonds?
Yep. Is it time to divest out of that or not?
Dollar bonds naman. Are you talking about foreign bonds or locally ROPs? Any. So the view, let me answer that. No? The view is interest rates will go down. I mean, it's just a matter of time. I suggest, if I may suggest, you wait for that to go down before you divest. Because what you're holding right now, if you are holding on to bonds, when interest rates go down, later on, your bond value goes up. So wait for that. Wait for that to happen. Then you can consider it shifting it to other investments. So tingnan nyo na lang yan. Let's wait for that. Mukhang ano pa eh. Mukhang towards the end of the year or maybe even next year, really depends. Depending on the views of April, if really there's a recession in the US, mas mapapadali yun, di ba? That can happen sooner than maybe the end of the year. But it's just, I suggest you wait.
No, there's also a risk on the dollar in case that happens. I mean, you have to consider that because if you are going to a recession, your dollar will get affected.
Get affected also, yeah.
I mean, that could be why he's concerned.
But yung dollar mo, if it is, you want to keep it in dollar investment, Juanis was saying about the exchange rate there, right? He's talking about the exchange rate there. If you want to keep your dollar invested, then you can shift it to another dollar investment just for your allocation.
You mean a non-dollar?
Yeah. Even non-dollar also can be good. Yeah, there?
Good morning. Somewhat similar sa question ni Sir. Is it still sentiment or negative sentiment kaya hindi nagte-take off yung market natin? Or is it because yung portfolio ng Filipino investors nandiya-channel na into global feeder funds? Kasi lagi natin sinasabi, foreigners kailangan dito para maging catalyst. Kailan ng Filipino mag-i-invest? Or kailan natin when will we trust our market?
Yeah, I think the basic reason there is the interest rates are high, even for Filipinos. If you are like getting 6% on your bonds, guaranteed, so doon ka muna, di ba? Even for Filipinos, it's also sentiment, but more on the interest rates. If interest rates remain high, it's not, the local stock market is not very attractive yet.
I'm not only talking about local, global bond funds. kahit yung mga equity markets like S&P 500, equity funds, kasi ang dami na ngayon eh.
Yeah.
Before it was dollar denominated, pero ngayon may peso
Yes.
funds.
Yes.
So is it the money flow going there and then leaving the Philippine market?
Yeah, I would think so. I think the basic reason is that before, we were not able to access, di ba? There's no access to foreign investment, particularly foreign funds. Now, it's slowly opening. In fact, in COL, we have a lot of funds in the platform that are feeder. You're saying the feeder fund, it goes to the foreign investment. We have American, China, technology. Slowly, we have seen some flows moving there already. You're right, tama, may nagmo-move na. And I think it's a very good discipline to diversify your portfolio. Other than Philippine investment, you also foreign investment. That's a good strategy. But I think we want to concentrate for the ones that you have here, meaning the stocks that you have here. This is the kind of strategy that we want for you to implement to more or less outplay the market. Because the stock market is it's kind of flattish over the past 10 years, but it's volatile, meaning it moves 15, 20% in a single year. Like pinakita ni Juanis, like BDO went from 100 to 110, from 100 to 150, then down to, I mean, that's a very good 20% return already. That's an opportunity for you, for the ones that you have in your portfolio. So I guess to answer your question, it's good to diversify, but for foreign investment, for bonds, but for local stocks also. Kasi mga Pilipino tayo, we know these companies. And then there are opportunities. April was explaining some risks, but there are opportunities on the trading side. Yeah. Good?
Can I add lang?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think naman, panapanahon, di ba? I don't think naman you should exit
Completely.
Philippines completely. Because, I mean, that said, I mean, if you think about cycles, okay, I think like Juanes is more bullish than me, but we both agree that we're in the late stage already of say a bear market. Juanes already believes we're turning. Ako feeling ko nandiyan pa. But the point is, kung nandyan ka na, di syempre, what comes after a bear market is a bull market. Okay, whereas, let's say, in the US, syempre, I mean, it's been in a bull market. And the question is, how long will this bull market last? If I'm correct, it won't last long. But if Juanes is correct, meron pa. But, you know, no matter how we argue, no matter the difference in opinion, the point is, it's already late stage. Maybe it's not the right time to be aggressively going to the US.
Now,
Right now, oo. And especially in the Philippines ngayon, pag hawak mo yung stock, I think, you know, if you understand statistics and you believe in mean reversion, 11 times PE just means that it's already at the low end of the range. And if you just have the patience, I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's easy to convince investors that foreign, local, whoever, that if you're trading at this cheap of a PE, and medyo may something goes right, it's easy to attract them to come back in and tell them it's really very cheap, you know, and you have earnings growth plus re-rating, double yung increase mo. So yun lang, parang don't lose hope, because you know if you're patient, you know you will be rewarded for your patience.
Yeah. Yeah. Meron pa dyan on the floor, ladies, on your end. Wala na dyan. Meron pa dito sa Slido. Maybe like, what would compel the BSP to cut rates? What would compel the BSP to cut rates?
Yeah.
Yeah, April?
Inflation.
Follow the US.
Yeah. And
Follow
US.
the US.
Follow the US.
Pagka si Fed, pero si Governor Eli Remolona, 'di ba? Parang sabi niya wala akong pakialam sa US, 'di ba? Hindi. Syempre for him, the larger the spread the better because that would mean a stronger peso and less inflationary impact. So sabihin niya, he's more concerned about domestic inflation. So rice prices, El Nino, yan. Inflation yan.
Yeah, just to share with you, I had a meeting with the governor a couple of days ago. It's an industry meeting with him. And he explained about the cutting of rates. He's worried about, they call it the secondary, ano yan?
Secondary effects.
The secondary effects of inflation. Kasi the primary is like, for example, geopolitical, like oil. And then oil or commodities umakyat. And then what happens? The secondary is, oh, mahal na oil, mahal na ganito. Let's bring up our salaries of our workers, and then let's bring up our transportation expense, etc. Yun yung secondary. And that's happening now. I mean, the wages was just increased about the latter part of this year, di ba? Last year. So yun yung secondary, that's what he was worried about. And that has to pan out still. Meaning, hindi pa siya magka-cut this in the next few months because he's worried about El Nino, he's worried about the secondary effects of inflation, which is the wage, the transport, the other things that will happen. Hintayin niya muna yun. He will keep it tight. That's what he was explaining to us. He will keep it tight because the inflation going down does not mean the prices are going down. Inflation, the rate of increase is the one going down, not the price. Mahal pa rin. Hindi bumababa yung price. It is the rate that goes down. So, hintayin mo muna yun because the Filipinos still has to, kind of get used to the high prices of rice, of commodities, and then aakit pa yung salaries ng tao. But one thing's good going for us is that our employment, medyo maganda ang employment figures natin. We're like below 4% ba? Unemployment rate. Meaning, parang full employment na yun. Yung mga unemployment rate na below 4%, parang ayaw na magtrabaho yun eh. Ano na yun? Parang full employment na tayo. So malakas yun. And he's worried, the governor is worried about that. Kasi pag malakas, they can spend again, inflation can go up again. Doon yung ayaw nila mangyari. Which also, I think the Fed doesn't want to happen. The Fed is looking at the labor market in the US. They want that to kind of soften first before they cut. So what could compel BSP to cut rates is when the price have stabilized talaga for the 2 to 4% that they're targeting in the inflation. It has to stabilize longer. So yun muna.
And maybe also, I think the BSP does an sentiment survey or expectations, inflation expectations.
Yeah.
And ngayon, actually, it's very telling even if you do a survey among business people and you ask them, what's your major concern? They always talk about inflation, higher costs. So, yun ang mainit sa usapin ngayon di ba? And even people. So, yeah, I guess another thing about inflation is, if everybody believes that prices are on the way up and you're a business person, you can increase prices easily. Tatanggapin niya ng tao. Kasi sabi nila, ganyan talaga tumataas di ba? But if the inflation expectation is not there and you increase your prices, hindi bibili ang tao, magagalit sila. Sabi nila, ano ba tumalmal? Bibili ako ng iba. So I think that's another angle to it, They want to control it.
Yeah. Okay, I think we'll get one more question and then probably we can... meron pa doon? Meron pa doon? There. Sir.
Yes, hello. Question on algorithmic trading and VWAP trading. How likely would it be approved by SEC? Do you think it will be approved by SEC? And if yes, when? And also, would that be a catalyst for foreign funds to return to the Philippines?
I get algorithmic trading and what? What's that one?
VWAP.
VWAP?
Volume weighted average.
Juanis, you want to...
Well, VWAP's currently being used on the backdrop already, so it's not that a matter of when. It's already being used. With regard to algorithmic, you just don't see it, but I think the foreign brokers are using it already.
They are already.
You're just not in the mainstream where it's very, very clear. I think it's very difficult to stop that, and that's one thing that many brokers will probably be resorting to later, especially if they want to be able to build their own models to be able to support their unique trading systems. They're going to need that, right? It's just that I guess the way you want to approve that will be more gradual. Because if everybody gets at the same time and all of you decide to plot in certain factors that could trigger automatic trades at the same time in a small market like the Philippines, it could go through a rush and create heavier volatility, which is something that happened in the US before when somebody made a mistake. I think if you guys remember that fat finger problem they had before.
Yeah.
That's an example of what it is. So that means everybody programmed trades, the price fell down big, triggered everybody's stop loss, all the massacre of selling orders came in at the same time, and a flash mini crash took place in the US, right? And of course, that's the greatest fear of what algorithmic trading can do. So I think those things will be gradually approved over time, and there are people using it already.
Yeah, okay. That's about the last question that we have. Maybe just to wrap this discussion, I would like to ask last few tips or last few words from April and Juanis so that we can take home something from all of this discussion that you can bring. Who first?
You want me? Okay.
Yeah, sige.
Yeah.
Ladies first.
Okay, so for me, I guess between Juanis and myself, I'm a little bit more cautious. But that said, okay, you want to trade, I mean, I admit I could be wrong, right? So you can continue to trade, but maybe have a more diversified portfolio with a more defensive stance, and keep some dry powder on the side. To in case the market gets sold off, you have an opportunity to buy those stocks, and stick with quality blue chips. More index issues rather than the second, third liners. so yeah, yun lang naman. Those are tips that I have.
Yeah, diversify, keep some dry powder. Yeah, Juanis?
Well, I guess in my end, I play things as they come out. No need for you to be extremely defensive right now when there are opportunities abound. Let the market tell you which side you should be on. And so if the market is telling you that it doesn't want to come down yet, continue to be able to see what money you can make at this point in time. When the market starts to correct, and believe me, I think it's around the corner, pare some of your positions down, take some of your profits, allow it to come down. Hopefully, by the time that maybe the first half comes in, maybe more clarity to the threats that April was talking about will surface, whether it's really that bad or not so bad. You can adjust your style. You can make it more defensive. It doesn't all have to be right now because you're thinking there's a massacre coming down the road, which may not come, right? So take it one step at a time. You've got opportunities. We've showed you some stocks to be able to look for as of right now. Pullbacks in them are presenting some opportunities for us, and we hope that you can capitalize on those things. I'm not so much of choose a particular sector because right now I see two diverse movements. Like even in property, there's those that's moving, there are those that are not. In banks, there are those leading, maybe some that are not. And so you're going to have to do a little bottom up here. You cannot just say this sector will win. It doesn't seem to be at that stage of a market where you can compel one sector to continuously move. So just play it by ear. You can be more defensive later when the market lets you know it's time to. And like I said, control what you can now and just manage what you cannot.
Well, there you have it. I would like to thank you all for coming this morning. It's been very productive, very useful. Take home this, and when you go home, I suggest take a rest and then plan out your strategy for the coming weeks, for the coming months, and we will have another session maybe towards the middle of the year so that we can update you all in what's happening. Thank you, Juanis and April, for those insights, and have a good day. Sir.
Thank you. Thank you,
everyone.
Thank you, Marvin. April and Juanis. Just a quick reminder before everyone goes. We do have a gift for all the attendees today. But if you could please just answer the survey. We have a QR code up here. There's also a QR code on the pamphlet. If you could please answer the survey. Once you're finished with the survey, our CEMs will come over to you and give you a gift for today. All right. We hope that you had a very insightful discussion this morning. Thank you for spending your Saturday with us, Saturday morning with us. And our experts will be around for the next 30 minutes or so. So please feel free to approach them with any questions that you may have. Now is the chance. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, everyone.